Hi, my name is Andy Vanzandt. I'm a professional board game developer. I'm taking a look at older board game designs through the lens of modern board game development. And it's important to note that when I'm talking about these games, I'm not really trying to criticize choices that were made, but rather to compare and contrast how board games have changed. And so when I'm talking about what I would do, I'm not saying that the choice that was made at the time was wrong because often it was correct, but I'm more trying to say what I would do if I was going to redesign this game for contemporary audiences. So today I'm taking a look at Acquire by Sid Sackson. Sid Sackson is considered one of the fathers of modern board game design, and that's because he was making games with meaningful choices and deep strategy way before Euro style and German style games really started getting rolling. And so this game was this particular version was published in 1976. It's a bit older than that actually, and has been reprinted multiple times. It's by Avalon Hill, which is now owned by Hasbro, and I think it's the only Sid Sackson title that Eagle Griffin doesn't have the licensing rights for. So let's take a look at the box first. We've got the border, which I've mentioned many times is usually an indicator of an older style game, and we've got this kind of Art Deco clip art looking illustration, which I'm okay with in general. Like I like this style. I don't care for this guy. So a lot of times when you're looking at a box lid, you want to be able to project yourself into the situation or onto the person, and for you to look at that and be like, oh, that looks exciting. That looks like something I could be doing, or you have a character which you can identify with that you can put yourself in the place of. And this guy is neither doing something particularly exciting, uh, he doesn't even look excited, nor is he really somebody most people would tend to project themselves onto. Most people don't sit around playing board games in a business suit and look condescendingly at you while holding their glasses, right? Some people do, I'm sure, but in general, in a comic shop, uh, that's not going to be the best way to present your box cover. Um, we don't have player age or player range or time anywhere on this cover. Importantly, we also don't have it on the sides, any of the sides, and we don't have it on the back. So that information is just not present. The back otherwise is very nice. We've got a component shot with like lots of the components in action, with stuff stood up and a very reasonably concise blurb on the back. Um, so I'm okay with the back, other than the fact that at no point did we learn what the age range or how many people could play this game. So let's take a look inside the box. We've got paper money, single-sided paper money. We've got single-sided non-cord cardstock certificates, and we've got a plastic insert, which would be nice, except that the insert is not big enough to hold its contents. And on top of that, a lot of the other components don't fit into the insert. So it's kind of not doing exactly what it would in a modern design. Normally, you would want the insert to hold everything or close to everything besides the board, and this doesn't even hold the few things that it's supposed to hold. Um, so if I was going to include a plastic insert, I would probably do it a little bit differently. Maybe a lid, maybe more wells to hold these things. We've got a ordering catalog. We've got rules of play, and some versions of this is actually glued to the inside of the lid uh, because it is a single sheet of rules. So it's very concise, but I would actually change this. This is a little too concise in that it makes a lot of assumptions about what you already know about the game. Even using the terminology here could be done a little bit better. So if this was even just like a full size page, you could fit in some visual examples, and you would have so much more clarity in these rules. And it's not that it's hard. It obviously accomplishes its goal, but you often will have questions, and stuff could be easier to reference and be picked up faster if it was if you just had a little bit more space and a little bit more visual examples rather than just pure text and making so many assumptions about what you already know. So we've also got a plastic board with recessed spots and plastic tokens, and these tokens show that that spot has already been claimed, and the colored ones are match up to the stocks. So the letters match up to the first letter of the stock name, and so it's reasonably clear as a secondary indicator, which is very good and very has a lot of utility to it. So that's good. Um, there have been a lot of different ways to kind of do these components. Some of them have wood tiles and bakelite tiles. Some of them have just chipboard. Some boards are not recessed. So there's been a lot of different ways this has been done in the past. Um, and the unfortunate thing about most of the ways, including this one, is that when you look at this board, when you're playing, uh, it looks like you are playing a spreadsheet. This has essentially zero table presence to it. Nobody is going to walk by and be like, wow, what's that game based on this spreadsheet looking board. Even though it's has a lot of function, it has almost no form. And so there is a version that was put out in the 90s, I think, that had hotel pieces that were actually like, looks like little 3D hotels instead of this kind of thing. And that's like step one, right? Like that does just a small thing, giving you those 3D hotels gives you a better idea of what the game is about just from looking at it, and gives a lot more visual pop and makes the game, you can see that somebody's playing a game about where they're building buildings from across the room. Um, so that would probably be where I would start if I was trying to make this uh, have a little bit more form to it. Uh, I would also consider having this. This this is nice that it's recessed. Uh, I would rather have a flat board with graphics on it. You still have clearly delineated spaces with their letter number combination on them, but you could have graphics of a cityscape and have little hotel pieces sitting on them, and these tiles can still be essentially these tiles, and they would uh, just those couple of changes would make this look much nicer. So that's acquire, and so to recap the main things that I would change if I were to if I handed this box just the way it is and said, hey, update this for modern day comic shops, I would uh, update the art on the front to make it more exciting or to make the character so that you could project yourself onto the character. I would have the age range and player count and time to play on the box somewhere. Um, I would probably remove the border from around the edge of the box, from the edge there, and have the art be full bleed. Um, I probably wouldn't even try for that plastic tray. I would probably go for a generic riser, cardboard riser, um, and uh, and I might have the stocks look a little bit more like stocks rather than just plain uh, cardstock thing. The money is fine; it's paper money. Some people hate paper money, but it conveys the theme well enough and is very usable. So I don't mind that. Um, and then I would have 3D minis for these hotels, and I'd have a flat board with the graphics on it. Um, and then I would make the rules have some visual examples in addition to the text, and maybe a couple little tiny text clarifications. But really, just a couple of visual examples goes such a huge distance for making the game easier to internalize for the purpose of explaining and understanding. So I hope that was interesting, and thanks for watching.